Welcome guys! Today we're going to be talking about the live action How to Train Your Dragon movie while playing Bed Wars. You knew this was coming. It's going to be great. Fair warning, there will be some spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, I highly recommend you go do that. I'll try to keep spoilers to a minimum. You have been warned. I am a die-hard How to Train Your Dragon fan. It's one of the first movies that I really remember watching, and it's still one of my all-time favorite movies, which is really saying something. I also love music, especially movie scores, so when I say that How to Train Your Dragon has my favorite score of all time, that's really saying something. So, of course, when I first saw that they were going to make a live-action version of How to Train Your Dragon, I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to ruin it. Unlike a lot of other people, I really liked the third movie and felt like it had a pretty satisfying ending that would hopefully keep it from people just milking the franchise into oblivion to make money. You can see this with so many other franchises, and I did not want it to happen to How to Train Your Dragon. Of course, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen as soon as I saw the live-action trailers. I was not happy. I mean, it's a movie about flying dragons. It's going to still be 70% CGI anyways. There's completely unnecessary to make this movie. Seeing a few people like the original writer and director were coming back gave me a little more hope, but I still went into the movie theater fully expecting that this movie is just going to suck. When I came out of the movie theater, I found myself thinking, dang, in spite of myself, oh my gosh, in spite of myself, I actually enjoyed that movie. That was a good movie. I would actually totally see that again. Now, I want to still be as clear as I can here. The live action never should have been made. It's completely unnecessary. But being mad about that isn't going to change anything, so stop whining. They did it. It's done. Now, obviously, no remake is ever going to be as good as the original How to Train Your Dragon. You just can't replicate that magic that made the original so good, and if you try to, you're going to epically fail. So that's not what the live action How to Train Your Dragon actually did. I mean, sure, it told the same overall story, but with a new take on it, new aspects, new elements. It didn't try to just copy what made the original so successful, and that's why I think the new one is so good. It was its own movie and it did a great job. So I'm going to talk about the movie a little bit. Again, going into the theater, I had zero expectations. I thought it was going to be the worst thing on planet Earth. The opening hiccup monologue was actually like pretty good. It was unique. It was great. The dragon fight scene that directly followed to it was not good. It felt like I was watching a fan-made film or something. It just felt off. Thankfully, the movie got a lot better real quick, and I don't remember feeling like I was watching a fan-made movie in any other parts of it. A big problem a lot of people had with the movie was related to the casting, especially to Astrid and the twins, and I just want to say, like I said earlier, you got to think of this as its own movie with its own twists and tweaks of the original story, and that applies to all of the characters as well. Stoic, of course, is pretty much the same since Gerard Butler came back to play him from the original. Pretty much every other actor put their own unique spin on the character, which surprisingly I did not mind that much. And you can die now. Goodbye. Wuss. Wah. Honestly, the biggest complaint I had about the casting... Honestly, the biggest complaint I had about the casting was just that the actor for Hiccup, every time he yelled, sounded kind of like some kind of teenage anime high school protagonist thing. Wasn't a huge fan of that, but maybe that was just me. And now onto the elephant in the casting room, Astrid. And you cannot honestly tell me you expected the entire cast of this movie to stay the same as it was in the original. If there's one thing that Hollywood loves, it's plastic surgery. But their second favorite thing is diversifying characters. It was bound to happen to someone, and honestly I think the Astrid actress did an excellent job playing Astrid. Her spin on the character really fit the movie well, and I think it was exactly what the director was going for. As for this canonical logic behind the diversification that all the nerds are whining about, first off, this is a movie with fire-breathing dragons. Stop being a nerd. I can say that because I'm one of the nerds. But the movie did an actually really satisfying... Oh wait. Ooh, that's not good. The movie did an actually pretty satisfying job of answering this. Instead of Berk being like this existing village of people, it was where the best dragon fighters from all over the world came to fight dragons. It not only answers the diversification question, but also fits very nicely into the existing universe narrative, so everybody wins. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they fell for that. I feel bad. A few other quick mentions in the casting department. I think the Tough Nut actor did a very good job, and honestly, I didn't mind the fact that they pretty much changed Rough Nut's whole personality because, let's face it, in the original movie, she was pretty much just a female copy of Tough Nut. The Fish Legs actor did an excellent job, and I even enjoyed the Snotlout take, adding a little bit of a character arc and stuff, but I mean, nothing's gonna beat Jonah Hill's Snotlout. Now, I will say Gobber's accent, or lack thereof, did throw me a bit in the beginning, but I got used to it. Aside from Rough Nut, I feel like his character shifted the most, turning him into more of like a sober, quiet character instead of the loud, funny one from the originals. And finally, I don't know how they did it, but kudos to Hollywood for finding a dragon that looks exactly like Toothless. I mean, the likeness is uncanny. In all seriousness, when I first saw the Toothless CGI, I was pretty disappointed. I was not a fan of it, but it absolutely grew on me while we watched the movie. And same goes for pretty much all the other dragons. I also want to note the tone of this movie is a lot different from the original, and that's another thing that really helped it become its own movie and not just like a copy. For example, several scenes in the original just didn't happen in the live action, like whenever they sneak into the village to repair the saddle, or whenever Hiccup flies through a literal fireball. And those scenes work great for a fun animated kids movie, not so much with a live action movie that has a lot darker take on the story. Another thing that bit the dust for those same reasons was all those funny background conversations and one-liners that really made the original movie really great. And again, while those work super well in animation, the translation to live action never ends up well. And so as sad as I was to see those go, I completely agree with the decision to cut them. And now the moment you have all been waiting for. Y'all knew this was coming. I'm going to talk about the music. When I heard that John Powell was coming back to rescore the new movie, I knew that even if the movie itself sucked, I was at least going to have an amazing score to listen to. When I first watched the movie, though, I was a little disappointed. There were so many scenes that just needed music and didn't have any. It also seemed in several places like John Powell just tried to rescore the same scene one-to-one. And, of course, that's not going to work because the scenes are never going to be exactly the same length. It's going to be a little different, and it just threw the music off a little bit in some spots. I didn't give up, though, and since watching the movie, I've listened through the full score twice. And I'm glad I did before making this video because this score is fantastic. I love it now. Sure, it's not quite as good as the original, but honestly, there was no way it could have been. Honestly, I think the score was about as good as it possibly could have been, all things considered, except for Test Drive. That scene in the theater just really confused me, and I was not happy at all originally with what they did with it. For starters, like all the electric guitar, distortion, brass muscle that was in the original is just gone. It's not there anymore. I was also not really sure about that new section of the song that they added in there, but upon listening to it more, it's grown on me. I can understand it. Also, the return of the melody happened a lot later than it did in the original, and it just felt off. If the original never had existed, I would probably think that this scene was great, but you can't really mess with that iconic of a scene. The live-action movie understood that with the Forbidden Friendship scene, but I guess they just didn't think that Test Drive was as important. I don't know. A few other things about the music. I thought it was really cool how John Powell incorporated just a couple themes from How to Train Your Dragon 2 into the live-action version. We got some Drago war pipes when the big dragon came out of the mountain, and even a little bit of Hiccup's chief theme when Stoic is looking for him after the battle. I feel like these things added to the mood a lot, while also acting as kind of like an Easter egg for music nerds such as myself. You might have also noticed that John Powell pretty much reused all of the melody and didn't really compose anything new, except that he actually did compose a new original theme for this movie. Starts kinda like Hiccup's theme, but then translates into something that's more reminiscent of the Lost and Found theme in movie 2. If you understand any of that, I love you. As for the theme, I really like it. I feel like it fits in perfectly with everything, and it has been stuck in my head for like 3 days. So finally, I did also want to note that there was a very noticeable choir popping up throughout the score. And while the original movies did have choirs and vocals weaved in, this type of choir was definitely a new kind of thing for the franchise. And I honestly really liked it. If you're curious about this, I highly recommend the track You Are My Homeward, which is actually the best spot to also listen to the new theme that I was just talking about. So all in all, I really liked the movie and highly recommend that you go go watch it if you haven't already. Just remember to go into the theater knowing that it's not going to be as good as the original, and it's not trying to be the same thing either, and you'll probably enjoy it just like I did. Overall, I would rate the movie 7 or 8 out of 10, all things considered, but I'd have to watch it again to finalize that rating. One last thing before I wrap up this video. In the original How to Train Your Dragon, in the scene when Toothless is drawing in the sand with a tree branch, there's a moment where he pauses, looks at Hiccup, and then makes a dot in the sand. But then when we see the drawing that he made, there's no dot in the sand. It always drove me nuts. In the live action, Toothless does the same like pause and dot, and when we see the overhead, it shows the dot in the sand. Oh my gosh, I was so happy about this. 10 out of 10, best movie of all time. I would give both my kidneys to watch it again. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you thought it was really rambly and random, you should have seen the first time I tried recording this. I got nowhere for like an hour and finally broke down and wrote a script like a frickin' nerd. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what you thought of this movie. And check out this video where I go full Gerard Butler Secret Service mode in a random Bedwars game for America.